Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Beta Breakdown, episode 9, with the brand new thumbnail. I figured I could spice that up a little bit, keep it interesting for you guys, make the videos look a little better. Slowly working on improving and responding to feedback that I'm getting, so hopefully everyone is still enjoying the content. Got a lot to talk about this episode. Updates to the Hero Academy, I think for the better. Updates to some of the Season 3 heroes that we talked about before, including 2 that I missed somehow. They're not live yet, but they haven't been going through beta, so I don't know how these 2 kind of slipped under the rug, but we'll talk about those 2 as well. There's an update to the Titanium Shield, which makes it not quite as unpleasant of a nerf as it was before. And then we have some updates to the Heroes of the Month for the upcoming months of July, August, and September. They're still not looking very good, but they seem like they are trying to make some changes for the better, so we'll take a look at those here. So first things first, let's look at the update to the Titanium Shield. So to recap, clearly they were trying to remove the capability for people to use 1-star heroes to get 120k Titan hits. And like we talked about, I can see where they're coming from with this, but still, let people have fun. It really doesn't matter. Anyways, they have made it clear they feel differently. So what they've changed for this before is it said that they were removing the reflect part of it. And so what it reads now is the target and nearby heroes reflect status effects from special skills and 100% of the damage back to the attacker for 4 turns. Here's the key. Heroes with lower rarity reflect less damage. So what made this exploit so effective is that a 1-star hero has the lowest defensive stat that you can get, period, which means that the maximum amount of damage will be taken from the Titan and reflected back. So that was the way to, if you know the term min-maxing, that was the way to absolutely max out the damage that the Titan could be dealing to itself via the reflect. So they've added this other piece, heroes with lower rarity reflect less damage, meaning that to use 1-star heroes, you're only reflecting 20%, and to use 5-star heroes, you're reflecting 100%, with 20% gradations in between. So what kind of stood out immediately with this is, okay, if you want to exploit this, use unleveled 5-stars. You know, with as rare as Ascension materials are, we all have plenty of unleveled 5-star heroes, so find the one with the lowest defensive stats, and you can still come fairly close to this, to what it was before. So I don't see the point to this change. They're kind of undercutting themselves in what is a stupid nerf to begin with. But it's nice to see that there is still an exploit built into this. You just have to have unleveled 5-stars. 4-stars will reflect 80%, so that could be a viable thing as well, if this is something that you even bother with. I've never even upgraded the Hunter's Lodge past level 1 because I still have so much of a need for the resources, the ham and iron outside of that. So these titanium shields are a pretty costly item to build, but just to update you for all the people that do use these, this is where it's at as of now. Okay, next up, everyone's favorite salmon Loki from, I can't remember which episode now. The hilarious fish card has been changed. So they heard our feedback loud and clear, and they decided to remove a fish from the game, and it has been changed to Bera, Bera. Stats have stayed the same, classes stayed the same. They have changed the, apparently it's like a winged hero. I can't find any art for it, but they've changed it from Trickster's Mirage to Fluttering Twilight. Summons a moth minion for each ally. The moth minion inherits 20% HP, 20% attack. That has stayed the same. So pretty much all they did was change it to a moth and change the water damage to poison damage, and they increased it from 156 to 180. So a flat 60 per turn. Apparently the people that have seen the artwork says it is very nice, so I think that's a welcome change. It was a weird direction for them to go with the fish, but anyways, this seems to be a change for the better. We've seen some changes to Lady Loki in terms of these stats, which have been the attack is lowered to 747, the defense was raised to 776, and the HP was raised to 1312. We now have, instead of deallocates, it looks like just a semantics change, takes all dispellable status ailments from all allies and randomly casts them on all enemies. So it's still unclear whether it's just distributing what is there or if each one is replicated across all of them, and then deals additional 8% damage per allocated status effects, and they've increased what the total damage can be. So I imagine for average speed, people were finding the damage to be underwhelming, so they increase that. I don't know what to think about this hero yet. There's a lot of stuff going on, and as usual, there's some aspects that are unclear. And then lastly, Frigg, the fast speed. Looks like they changed it and then have reverted it back. Fast speed, very balanced stats. Deals 100% damage to all enemies, which is not very much. Deals an additional 18% damage per each nature shield on the board, up to 244% damage in total. All enemies get minus 8% defense and a further minus 4% decrease from, well, it used to be minus 6%, per each nature shield on the board for 3 turns, up to minus 44%. So the standard defense down number is minus 34%, like with Finley and Grimm and Costume Magni. And I'm not sure about Buddy or Tubertus. I think they Small Giant tends to stick with numbers like that, and then the elemental defense down is almost always more, if not always more. So the fast speed is nice. It's still going to take 9 tiles to charge, so you would have to either leave this hero charged to try to get more greens on the board, which is not crazy, because the benefit would be significant. So if you got 4 tiles on the board, then you're getting an extra, let's see, what would that be? Can I do simple math in my head quickly? That would be 72% added to the 100, so that'd be 172%, which is still nothing crazy. And then that would be minus 36% defense for 3 turns. So it's not bad, but it still feels a little underwhelming for how many factors need to be aligned for it, because it's very underwhelming if there's no greens on the board. 100% damage with minus 8% defense for 3 turns is just trash. So the scaling multiplier is the only redeeming quality, and I feel like they were a little bit too timid on how quickly that accelerates, because it is hard to have that many tiles on the board. So you'd probably have to charge this hero and then wait maybe multiple turns to try to get more greens on the board, and who knows what's happening in the meantime. So there's potential here, but this wouldn't be a hero that I would think of as one of my top choices. Okay, let's talk about the proposed changes for the July, August, and September Heroes of the Month. The changes to July, Noor, are minor. So they have increased the HP of the owl minion by 5% up to 25%, and they added a 1% attack increase, which is kind of hilarious to even make that as a change. This was a hero that was pretty underwhelming to begin with. You can pause here and read through the stats yourself, but I covered this in a previous video. So minor tweaks, not enough to make it interesting to me. We'll see if, I hope there will be more, because this just seems unappealing. Slow heroes are very hard to be competitive in the current meta, so if they're going to release a new slow hero, it better offer something a little bit more significant than this. So if we look at August, Zoc, no changes to the stats. This was the one that just seemed actually terrible to begin with, and still seems bad in my opinion. So I think we're gonna see the speed change from average to fast, which is still not that big of an advantage because an average speed hero with a level 23 mana troop, which is significant, charges in 9 tiles. A fast speed hero charges in 8 tiles, or 7 if you have a level 28 or 29 mana troop, which is insane. So the difference between 8 and 9 tiles is almost negligible because you're almost always, I'd say greater than 90% of the time, you're matching 3 matches of 3 to get a fast hero going. And that could get an average speed hero going with a level 23 mana troop. Granted, you have to be playing for absolute minimum of a year unless you're dropping a ton of money to have that level of a troop, but the difference is not as significant as one might hope. So we've seen the damage increase to 320%, which is still a pretty weak hit. And it casts Mindless Attack to one ally. It casts Mindless Attack to one enemy, where that enemy will then hit an ally on the enemy team. And then they had removed this when Mindless Attack status effect is removed. The target deals damage back to the caster. I can't even begin to understand why that was ever included in there. So they better remove that. But this should be, if it's an average speed hero, this seems worse than Greg in multiple ways. Greg's hit is stronger, and the plus 30 something percent critical chance across the entire team seems stronger than just Mindless Attack on one enemy. So this hero seems tremendously weak, maybe for a 4-star, a fast 4-star. So yeah, that's where that one's at. And then we have Baiyang, the September hero of the month, and a lot of changes here. This was sort of a new mechanic that was a little bit confusing to me, but at least we have a fast hero. They've increased the damage to 285%. The target gets minus 75% accuracy, so we saw a decrease there for 2 turns, so an increase in the number of turns, decrease in the total accuracy. Target gets same change here for healing received, minus 75% for 2 turns. They remove the can't gain mana, which I feel like was one of the better aspects here. So this is a really weak hit to only affect one target in terms of its healing and accuracy. If this was very fast, that would be that would make more sense. It would be pretty strong for very fast, and that's where I would be okay with the effect only lasting for 1 turn maybe. It would be hard to time that though. If you had a very fast hero, you can potentially get them charged in 6 tiles or 3 ghosted tiles with only a level 11 mana troop. And you could effectively shut down one hero who was on the cusp of dealing significant damage, like a Vela or Telluria even. So as it is now, again, another hero I'm not interested in, and I feel pretty good about that because it would be nice for 3 months to not feel like I was missing out on a good hero of the month. So that's where those are at, and let's get to the long-awaited changes to the Hero Academy. There are some changes for the better. Do I think it's where it needs to be? Let's find out. The most notable change, in my opinion, is that they increased the pool of desirable heroes to include past event heroes. Now, before anyone goes and gets too excited about that, these are only event heroes prior to the 2020 reboots. So this year they did a refresh of every event, adding new heroes. Or I don't know if it started in 2020. I forget when the first one was. But if you look at the list, which I'll put up on screen now, you can see that it does not include heroes like Finley or Guardian Gazelle or Black Knight, etc. Or Jabberwock, a lot of the really desirable heroes. But you do have Captain Kestrel, Lady Locke, Sargasso, Boss Wolf, Red Hood, Rumpelstiltskin, Guardian Panther, Guardian Owl, Guardian Kong, Guinevere, King Arthur, Morgan Le Fay, Tarlac, Makar, Missandra, Mitsuko, Inari, Cage, Kage Barado, Atmos, Ariel, Poseidon, Ursina, Alice, the Hatter, Queen of Hearts. Some great heroes in there, don't get me wrong. And it's for sure improvement. So the fact that they added that is actually really nice. And they have clarified that all of the heroes in this list, including the past heroes of the month that we've seen in the Tavern of Legends, and these event heroes, the collective probability of getting anyone on this list, we don't know if there's differentiation between this, but the collective odds are 5% or a 5% appearance rate, and then we don't know how it's broken down, whether they all have an equal chance or it's like maybe 3.5% for the old heroes of the month and 1.5% for the event heroes. Split between them, we don't really know, but they have given a discrete number, 5%, which I'm pretty sure is what it is for TC20 to get a 5-star hero. So this is like a TC20 2.0 with a better pool of heroes, the Atlantis heroes, and all those on there. So I think it's a welcome change. 5% is just disappointing, but unfortunately we don't expect better from Small Giant, as disappointing as it is. The other thing they added is you're guaranteed to receive a hero different than the one you're using in the retraining, so you don't have to wait 7 days just to get the same thing you have, but there's no guarantee about it being different than heroes you have in your roster to begin with. So yeah, I'm hoping it gets better, but we'll see. So that's the main change here. There are some changes to the costs, which we'll look at here, but the main thing was adding the event heroes. So one of the biggies is some semantics changes. Instead of train your epic troops from old troops, they're calling it retrain, so they changed the wording around that. All the training troops options now require iron instead of food, which is nice. Though the uncommon heroes have been increased from 4 recruits to 10. They did decrease some of the wait times by 6 hours for the common troops and uncommon troops. All the troops are iron instead of food, including the level 9 to retrain your epic troops. And they have said that there's a guarantee that you won't receive the same epic troop that you put in as well. So that is the same expectation you can have for levels 9 and 10 of this building. They decreased the food cost for retraining legendary heroes from 2.3 million to 1.7 million. It's still a shitload of food, considering you're also having to wait 7 days for a 5% chance. So people are definitely going to use it. It's definitely an improvement over TC20 just because the pool of heroes is actually competitive. I hate to say that the Season 1 heroes aren't competitive because I know that's the bread and butter for a lot of people, but they're just really not, especially with the new added costumes. Costumes were the nail in the coffin for the regular Season 1 heroes, because they're just, without a doubt, better versions of those. So, yeah, we'll see where this finally ends up. I have to say, for the first time in a while, every change in here is a positive change in my opinion. I always have more iron than in food, so the fact that troops don't require food anymore is nice. I don't even know if I would use those tiers or not. They decrease some wait times, they decrease the cost, they increase the pool of heroes, they told us what the percentage appearance rate is. All this stuff is still subject to change, but this is a step in the right direction. Is it incredible? No. I think I can just plainly say no, it's not incredible, but it's certainly better than what we have now. And 5% of people each time this happens are going to be pretty pleased with the results, more than likely, because if you're willing to trade a season 1 hero that you have duplicates of or that you just haven't leveled, then I'm sure you would take anything else on this list as being an improvement. Whether it'll be what you want is a completely different story, because we now have, let's count this real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So it's about 49. I might have missed one in there. So somewhere between 48 and 50, which means you've got a very small chance at getting a specific hero. Maybe of that 5%, if it's split into 50, what does that mean? You have a 0.1% chance. Yep. So 0.1% chance, that's even smaller than the featured hero in Valhalla. So anyways, I think we've covered enough on this. Hopefully they make more positive changes, but it's a step in the right direction. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, if you're happy about this, if there's any specific changes you wanted to see. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. It helps other people see it as well. So if you think the information is useful, that's a good way to show it. If you're not subscribed already, definitely consider subscribing. If you find yourself watching my videos frequently, it helps out the channel, and it'll make sure that you are up to date on all the information I'm releasing. And if you listen very carefully, you can hear my dog snoring in the background as his feet twitch around and he has some crazy dream. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.